Hello, and this is my engineering project presentation about my idea, a hydrogen power plant. A little about me, my name is Daniel Hicks. I am 16 years old. I am going to my junior year at Grand Hills High School in Porterville, California. At my school, I'm a part of the Computer Operations Development and Education pathway, also known as CODE. Sorry about that. One thing I would like to add on this that is not on this slide is that I've been a part of a couple of internships this summer previously, including this one I'm in now with at Raytheon Technologies, becoming an FRE with this engineering project. Previously this summer I've done an internship called AgTech, which was the main idea of the internship was to create a model and a presentation about your project to other people in the ag tech industry that would give them an idea of a thing that would help add technology to agriculture, making things easier in the future for farmers and areas and farms in my area. In my future, I would like to go into the field of work that involves either computer science or soft hardware engineering. The main problem I was trying to help solve or like try to fix with this engineering project was the issues with using fossil fuel power plants. Fossil fuel power plants may seem like they don't affect anything, but they have a huge effect on neighboring communities, producing many dangerous chemicals that can pollute both air and water. Long enough exposure to these dangerous chemicals can lead to health issues, including cardiovascular problems and other issues that can range from either cancer to immune system damage. And then this is becoming becoming more and more of a problem as time goes on with the uses of fossil fuels. The My main problem number one, abundance. Fossil fuels, it is a very overused and non-renewable source of resource and both and source of energy. And with this, it's with over time with the lack of abundance, it's going to either cost more to use in both power plants and being able to create fuel sources for both for any for vehicles like such as cars, airplanes, and et cetera, et cetera. And with also the another issue that is tying into what's going on now, which is not really the main issue, is with the lack of abundance, which is going to equal to higher cost rates. So with lack of abundance, when time goes on, when the fossil fuel uh, storage dwindles down to little to nothing, like the cost rates of that is going to be skyrocketing. So with hydrogen power plants, on the other hand, it is not used as much and is a very not a very popular source of resource used in producing energy. According to a ThoughtCo article, Hydrogen Facts, about 90% of atoms and 75% of element mass is hydrogen. Which ties into my next bullet point. It is a very abundant resource and a very abundant source of energy. Can be a very abundant source of energy. Which tied also into my next bullet point. It can be pulled from a lot of things like water, biomass, and if I remember correctly, it can also be pulled from like nuclear waste. So yeah, it's basically everywhere. It's a very abundant resource. Problem two, greenhouse emission. We've all known that with burning fossil fuels either in cars or in power plants, it is one of the main causes of greenhouse emission. And its main emission is carbon dioxide, which is a very toxic at high levels, or it's just toxic in general. And fossil fuel burning, it makes up 72% of greenhouse gases in the US. It also makes up to 92% of CO2 emissions within the US as well, making it one of the most toxic producing things, in my opinion. Excuse me. With hydrogen power plants, on the other hand, it has little to no greenhouse gas emission, and when burned, it most time only produces pure oxygen with using the electrolysis system with separating oxygen and hydrogen and splitting water molecules. So with that, you're creating a pure oxygen that can be put back into the air. But yes, pure oxygen can be toxic at high levels, but with the fact shown on with oil with fossil fuel power plants, it would be easier to help lessen the danger factor of high levels of pure oxygen. Problem three and my final problem: water pollution. We've also known this for the longest time. Fossil fuel power plants or fossil fuel extractions is one of the main issues with water pollution. Whether it's with the power plants producing many runoffs that lead into streams, to rivers, into large lakes that can kill the ecosystem and the environment around it, or to lakes that can or large or into oceans that can kill the ecosystem there. And with fossil fuel extraction, with oil rigs and oil rigs on water or oil extraction on land, with it on water, it is very with when something malfunctions and it becomes dangerous, it creates a large oil spill, which we've known in the past that it is not a thing to clean up, making it very difficult to get it all done in a short amount of time so it doesn't affect the ecosystem anymore. So yeah, it is a very toxic thing to happen, and with oil spills in the ocean and lakes and stuff like that. But it's also dangerous with runoffs, with it killing the ecosystem around that. With hydrogen power plants, on the other hand, it has little to no runoffs. It doesn't produce many toxic chemicals at all. It in some ways helps the ecosystem around it producing pure oxygen, and in some certain cases, it can actually produce water, which you can either use to filtrate out to farms and areas around it that need water, so it can help irrigate it or just water it in general, or it can be filtered back into the electrolysis system, which would yet again separate the hydrogen and oxygen, separate them, the water molecules away, and give off a pure oxygen and use the hydrogen to burn and create more energy. My summary. Some key takeaways of this I would like to say is with hydrogen, it is a very abundant resource and it is easy to get, which would make it a very useful and abundant source of energy. And another thing is that it doesn't produce any harmful greenhouse gases, so it's not a toxic thing for air. It doesn't pollute air. It's not very toxic to the ecosystem much at all. It can like I said previously, it can emit oxygen, which would actually help the ecosystem and the area around it, giving it, like I said, oxygen. So, yeah, these are my resources I've used throughout the entire presentation. Yeah. Thank you. If you have any further questions or concerns, my email's below.